What's going on, everybody? ICNV Drivers Edition coming back at you. I want to shoot a quick video because I don't know if you heard or not, but GM came out and put the smackdown. Well, let's say they put dealers on notice. So what does that mean going forward for all you Z06 enthusiasts and looking to get you a Z06? Let's talk about it. Okay, so GM came out and pretty much put the dealers on notice. I'm going to summarize it for you, but you can find it on the website. I think GM Authority has it on their website. And pretty much what GM came out and said was to all the dealers, which they said was a small few, not the large or the majority, that were out there selling Corvettes for over MSRP, they told them to stop it. They have been launching investigations into it. And pretty much they said that the dealers that are charging over MSRP for their products are hurting the brand and the customer's commitment with GM and yada, yada, yada. So what does this mean going forward? Well, what you should expect is for all these dealers that are charging over MSRP to try to find a way to back out of it. But will it happen? I don't really know. Honestly, we'll have to wait and see. Now, what GM sat there and said was, to any dealer that they catch selling over MSRP, they will reallocate some of their allocations. So, what does that truthfully mean? There really hasn't been no in-depth, like we won't give you any cars. It just said we will reallocate some of your allocations. Can that be enough of a threat or influence to change these dealers from charging over MSRP? Only time will tell. But I do believe GM is going to step in the right direction. They also mentioned that any dealers they catch doing sales with Brokerage, which that was very common when the release of the C8 came out. For any dealers they catch doing brokerage deals, they will also enforce some type of penalties. Now, they didn't say what the penalties would be, but ultimately, I think that's another step in the right direction, because I know personally dealerships that were actually selling to other dealerships, hence somebody used the reference, you sell a car to CarMax and you get a profit off of it. There were dealers that were selling cars to other dealerships and in a conjunction to get part of the markup back at the original dealership. I actually sat down with a dealer. I'm not going to put them on blast, but I actually sat down with a dealer and I was looking for a base C8 or a C8 Z51 that actually told me what dealership they would partner with. And when they got the cars in, that they usually sold within 3 to 5 days, and that I could actually be notified because they didn't have a wait list. I could be notified when the next car comes in, and as long as I'm ready to go, I can get the car. And they was doing, at that point in time, $25,000 over MSRP, but they were splitting the profit with the actual home or base dealership. So for a lot of people that wasn't aware of that, it was happening all over the place. And that's how some, I'm not going to say every, but that's how some of these Corvette specialist dealerships were getting their C8 so quickly. Now, GM says, no more of that. So all I can say to you is, at the end of the day, I think it will reduce some of the markups you see on the C8s, Z06s coming forward, and probably some base C8 cars. I know I see all the time on Corvette forums and in Facebook and other places that people are saying dealers are still trying to charge them $10K over for a base C8. Only thing I can sit there and say to you is, it's going to be a tricky topic. Do I expect all the dealers to sit back and take it lightly or just accept it? No. I feel like there will be some form of I guess, pushback, because at the end of the day, it doesn't, by GM come out and saying this and not going after the customers that are like flipping cars, you're going to have dealers push back because you're eliminating them to making a profit off the vehicle, because people are still going to flip these cars. So that's why I feel like in the long run, it won't work. GM is going to have to step up to the plate and probably, as somebody said before, make the customer that buys the car say they won't sell it for X amount of time. Which at the end of the day, that's a hard force too, because if I don't care to buy a second Corvette, why does it matter if I sell my first one for 20 or 30 grand profit and I never have an intent to come back to it anyway? So you got to think about that. But I don't want to get sidetracked. All I want to sit there and say is it's great news. GM came out and finally started addressing the topic of all this over MSRP sales. So that's a thumbs up for GM. I know a lot of people out there is happy to hear that. Now, you know this is ICNV Drivers Edition, and we try to keep it real. So does that mean that what GM did was a good thing? Does that mean what GM just came out and said is going to fix our over MSRP problems? Here's my real thought. Here's my in-depth opinion. No. I feel like, for the best way to say it, GM came out and this is a puppet show. I'm waiting for them to prove me wrong. Because if you've already done research and you've already been investigating this, you know who these dealers are that are selling over MSRP. When you made this announcement, you should have came out and said, going forward, as of January 19th, any dealer caught selling over MSRP will receive penalties. They did not say that. Another thing that GM did not do is, I'll just be honest with you, they didn't really address the topic. And what do I mean by address the topic? So you understand, dealerships aren't dumb. I've worked at several. There's always backroom deals to be had. So what I want you to understand is, if you're part of any Corvette group, watch what the posts have been saying lately. A lot of people that are paying over MSRP are complaining not about paying over MSRP. When they post their deals or they ask the questions, what they're complaining about is the forced packages. And that's the key, because GM can crack down on dealerships that you walk into, and when you see an MSRP and then they have a stick on the side that says market adjustment, that dealer they can attack. But when you see a dealership that walks in, or when you walk into a dealership and you see on that little stick on the side window and it says 3 months worth of oil changes included, a wheel and tire package, ceramic coating, or Scotch Guard for the interior and some other type of paint protection, those are the dealers that they're not going after. And I say this to you because I'm not going to put names out there, because these dealers have been reputable good to me in the past. But I know a few years back, when the C7 market was going on, I know a dealer that actually got taken to court for charging what they call a package, an add-on, and the customer felt it was excessive. And ultimately, the state's attorney did take the deal on. The customer didn't really win the case, but when they brought GM in, or however you want to sit there and say it, the response to General Motors was that the dealership had the right to add on any aftermarket items to the vehicle, to their inventory. And those items could be sold for a markup or for some form of profit. So when these dealers start telling you, hey, you have to take on an extended warranty, you have to take on a wheel and tire package, you have to take on this, you have to take on that, or you have to take on the Anderson Chevrolet employee experience that they attach onto every vehicle, that's kind of a loophole. I know people don't want to hear this, but that technically is a loophole. So if you think I'm wrong, please tell me why you believe I'm wrong. But honestly, I've seen firsthand where it's been enforced. Now, until General Motors comes out and makes a statement about packages being forced on the people, these unnecessary destination charges, these Corvette C8 preparation fees that are like $4 and $5 grand. Because if you look on Facebook, if you look in Corvette forums, people are talking about them. Hey, has anybody else paid this when they took delivery of their Corvette? Because these are the things that's being forced on, and they're being forced on at unprecedented markups. Yes, I used to work at a dealership. We used to add a paint protection similar to ceramic coating and Scotch guarded interior and so forth. That was a 1995 add-on. Realistically, sorry for being honest with you, it was technically a $395 or $495 charge for us. So when they was adding on for $1995, they were marking up $1,500 on profit, and that is continuing to go on. When you see wheel and tire packages, most of those programs are anywhere between $495 and $795, depending on the company that's actually honoring the package. But you see them being sold for $995, $1,250, $1,500. So when I say this to you, those are the concerns I have when you say you're going to step up GM and put a knot or put an end to all the price gouging, because the price gouging is not really happening so much on the car, it's happening on the forced on add-ons. And inside the little memo or the letter that I read personally, I didn't see anything where GM was actually addressing that. They just came out and said that any dealership they catch selling for a markup, which there are dealers out there that says market adjustments, and that was an actual term they use, market adjustments. And I say this to people because when it comes down to legal actions and contracts, wording matters. So when they use the term market adjustments, any dealer that has market adjustments, they're probably going to go after them. That way they can make the customer who's out there still trying to buy these cars feel like GM has stepped up and addressed the issue. I feel like it is realistically, and please don't criticize me for this, because I love the product, I love a Corvette, I'm still trying to get one, I'm trying to get another one. But what I sit there and see with this is Ford made a stance, Ford made a statement, and people start saying publicly, GM dropped the ball, GM didn't step up. So now what you're seeing is a reactive statement by General Motors, which in some cases I truly feel is kind of puffing smoke up people's you-know-what. So until we see GM actually penalize some dealership for this, until it comes out and says publicly or make it known that we caught this dealer doing this and that we will not accept dealers forcing packages on their customers, I feel like it's just all smoke and mirrors. Tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me what your thoughts are on this. Do you think I'm being too hard? But I'm telling you off personal experience what I've seen a few years back, and I'm going to say a few years, I'm talking over 3 years ago. It's actually probably about 5 or 6 years back. But I want you to understand this is what I've personally seen. This is what I see every day. And I know people are going to be happy because GM stepped up and said something, but I want you to understand just because they said something doesn't actually mean they're doing something. There's a difference. But again, tell me in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you had an experience similar to this where you were forced to take on a package when you bought your car. Tell me if you just had to buy a car at markup or you agreed to buy a car at markup. Let me know what your thoughts are. But anyway, ICNV Drivers Edition, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Share the video so we can get this information out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Stay tuned. See you in these streets. Peace.